Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with TC Mano to bring you guys Froyo Tech versus Fjord Gaming. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 18 Week 2A. And these two teams have had I think it's safe to say, an interesting first week, and only time will tell what will happen in this week as they will be headed off against each other where only one can come out victorious.
Yeah, only one, and I think a lot of people are probably betting on Froyotech, which is a good shout, but they did kind of start the season off a little bit slow with an early loss to, what are they, Mama's Boys. Still have to get used to that name. A little bit of an interesting one, but starting off slow with a loss to Mama's Boys. Fjord starting off strong with a nice win versus Global Clan. So kind of having a little bit of a mirror. Fjord are now 1-1, but they're trying to make it 2-1 coming into tonight up on Sunshine, which I think was Froyotech's map pick. Yeah, it was. They are the home team, so going to be hopefully a lot better of a showing for Froyotech, as last time on Bagel, they just didn't look really good or coordinated whatsoever, which, I mean, kind of makes a little bit of sense, Jared. It's weird to say that they're a newer team because they're not. It's Froyotech. They've been around for literally eons, but this coordination of players, or the coordination of players that we saw last time out, is pretty new. I mean, you had Banny on Soldier, you had Habib on Scout, Logan on Demo, which isn't too abnormal, but for him to be Demo on Froyotech is, because last few times he's been on Froyotech, he's been on Scout instead. So they also had Hubert the Fish. So it really is just kind of like a new-ish grouping of players. And I can really see how maybe starting immediately off on Bagel didn't give them the best opportunity to put their foot forward. But on the other side, on, Ford Gaming, a lot of these people, Jared. And, they started off strong with a good win versus Global Clan.
Yep, you got Deadly Seed and Necro on Scout, Alexandris and Pineapple on Soldier, Yosh on Demo, and Bear, aka Cronjington Magoo, on Medic. Yeah, these guys, they've made their move up at Invite after being in advance for a little bit chilling, and so far it seems like they've had the level ups needed as people come and go to be able to put themselves in the hot seat for Invite this season and see how far they're going to go. They've done pretty okay so far. They had a really nice showing, like you said, against Global Clan. It was a pretty nice process game. You got to see Yosh pull out his signature quickie lock, which we've kind of missed that for a while. The demos that run the shenanigan weapons. I think the last time you rarely ever saw that was maybe Mig would occasionally run it, but it wasn't as like a screw around meme type of thing, like the way that Yosh is using it. So always something to keep your eyes peeled for as viewers, and as players, you got to keep yourself on your toes, even though you might be, you're Froyotech after all. You're probably the favorites going into this matchup. You got to play a little bit differently, against the quickies at least, especially Cherry on top with the lock and load. Got to play slightly more aggressive. Got to be careful about where you have your traps, because they could just get insta-deleted, and therefore you don't have any whatsoever. So, you got to make some small adjustments here and there, but it's probably nothing they can't handle. But either way, it should be a good showing nonetheless. I imagine both these teams are trying to, I guess Fjord is more so trying to keep the train rolling based off of what happened last week, and Froyo's here to kind of prove that, last week it was just a fluke. It was the map, it was our opponents. But when it comes to a normal map like Sunshine, and in their minds what should be a pretty easy 5-0 against a team like Fjord, that tonight is going to be nothing to write home about from their side. But only time will tell, and I guess we'll see whose storybook reigns true.
Yeah, we will have to see. I definitely agree with you that, both these teams are trying to either keep on the momentum or revert from what happened last time. It's interesting about the Froyotech roster because I think on paper they should win this basically in almost any configuration. I think most people would say that, they have the more experience outside of like a few people on Fjord, like Yosh and Cronjington Magoo, who kind of have played, like you said, they moved up from Advanced, but they played Invite previously with you, back in the ECA days of like Velocity and stuff like that. So they have a bit of experience. Everyone else, though,
Oh yeah.
A little bit lower level. So even with Froyotech off-classing and maybe getting a little bit used to their roster a bit more, they should be looking really, really good to be able to take it. Even better that it is kind of a classic map like Sunshine. It's which is, in my opinion, it's kind of become the TF2 map. Some people probably would have said Process, but I think Sunshine is just a little bit better overall. It's very standard. Everyone can have a great game on it. And I think especially for Froyotech, when they're trying to get everything locked in, this is the perfect map for them to really iron out all of those kinks and everything that might have been going wrong on something a lot more chaotic like Bagel.
Yeah, the only thing that's really not standard is the typical, it's week 2. You have barely had any time to not only gather yourself on whatever new role that you've been thrust into, compared to the previous seasons. You haven't grinded out all the kinks and everything like that, alongside making sure that you have all your synergy down and the opposing teams as well, knowing whether or not, oh, we need to play really aggressive versus this team or really passive. The little tricks that they have might have up their sleeves regarding off classes. And then, like I said before, the unlocks, I suppose, is important as well to make sure you are aware of what might be coming in the first couple rounds. So I would say if at any point that Fjord would fare well versus froyo, I feel like it'd be kind of now, because even though, they're all previous invite players, spare I think Pineapple was making an introductory season. They're up against froyo, even on off class, they still have tons and tons of experience. So I'm honestly, quick preds, I kind of believe that it's going to be a 5-0 in froyo's favor, but Fjord can put some numbers on the board.
Yeah, I'm going to also say a 5-1. I think they've got themselves in it to take maybe at least one round, maybe a surprise mid or something like that from them. We're going to have to see as Alexandros immediately takes control of the Bell, gives it up as we start our first mid fight. Banny over on Soldier for this season, going to be on his team's cafe with Laz. The two Soldier duos on froyo can be bombing over, taking a lot of space and doing a lot of damage as well. But the bomb comes in on the human. Alexandros going absolutely massive with the early 3K immediately in. Habib trying to chase down Crowd. Oh, he gets it with the arrow. Amazing stuff from Habib. From Bear, to take down Habib. And, this is kind of what I was saying, Jared. I think that even with this, froyo should be able to close it out, as they are going to be able to take down Laz. But I do think that, maybe Fjord have got at least one round in them.
Yeah, that counter initiation was amazing. Within the span of 1 second, 3 people died. And one, that's a testament to, make sure you're standing where you need to be standing. Don't be on top of each other if you're froyo. But 2, you're going to be able to stand toe-to-toe in the spam war when you have the quickie bombs. They tried to focus him down. They knew he was going to be a threat, but they bided their time a little bit, and that just allowed enough damage to be applied to make sure those kills happen that quickly. So add for the side of Fjord. They're trying to make some space. They brought Laz over. They are going to use Uber to try to kill him down, and they will succeed. Renee Cross, Yosh jumping forward, Necro pistoling down Habib, and they got a little bit of damage on the Logan. He is going to back up with his life, though, so overall 2 kills for an Uber. Can't be too upset. They're even going to try to die early, but 90% for Hubert the Fish. This is going to be scary unless they win right now.
Oh, Alexandros, huge bomb on the pad. He does a lot of damage, forces out the Uber. They just capped the point. It doesn't even matter. Expert stuff from Fjord Gaming. Even if they hadn't gotten the point, they had been able to get out the Uber. They had taken down Patty. That would have been really good regardless, but they just stood on the point while everyone on froyo was backed up into spawn.
They played that on Knife's Edge. 10% until they get... Nah, doesn't matter. Don't care. Granted, they probably didn't know for sure what they were at, but they were still trying to go for a force, at least while everyone was down. And once again, just like the first match so far, or the first match they played that we really saw from Fjord, so far it's been a Soldier show, but it's only really been one round.
My God.
Yosh the quickies just sniped across the map. No heals available for the blue team. They're running forward. Yosh on 1 HP will eventually get taken out, and they've taken lots of control. The blue team has froyo trying to lock down these doors somewhat, but they only have so much health to work with. Both Soldiers, 100 below on the both of them. Spam going across from the choke side now. They're going to go ahead and forgive the cap. Got to be mindful of Laz's positioning, though. They want to make sure that Bear does not take too much damage. He's a bit weak. That causes a bit of rotation, buying them some time. They are going to finally bust out of the cafe area. The both sort of at the same time. He drops Laz with the perfect rocket. It doesn't even matter that the second Soldier was there, because one is enough to seal the deal. Now Hubert available to heal his team. The shoes on the other foot. Now the red team's going to lock down these doors. Maybe on one of the scouts. Alexander just wants to go towards the medic. Unable to get a lot of damage on him, and it's just 3 left alive. Not many resources left in the tank for them to really do much here, and they have overall lost the mid after such a promising start.
It was looking really, really promising for Fjord Gaming, but they're going to have a little bit of time to maybe try and stall things out. Ubers aren't in, but they've just given up so much ground. froyo are going to take it for free, and now they're in a very bad position. They are at Uber, just at froyo. You can see immediately working their way in to lobby. Seems like they're scouting out where they want to go, just going to be taking those angles. Alexandros might be caught over on the left side, takes a bit of damage, is going to jump away to safety, and they know where froyo is coming in from. They use the Uber, getting a lot of damage on the Pineapple, trying to jump away over to safety, just barely barely stays alive. froyo haven't got anything. Now they're finding the kills. They find one onto Pineapple, onto Necro, and Crunchington is not even close to Uber, only at 80%. They're all just mulching in. They might be able to get Alexandra's doing some really great rockets, but there's too much cap time on the point, and that is going to make it a tie game.
Yeah, did a pretty good job of making sure you got 2 kills with the Ubers. Even though there's a heavy on the field and there's still, some nice rockets coming out of Alexander's near the tail end of things there, it's just not enough. It's a 6v4, and you are only at, 85% on the side of Fjord, so not long for this world are they, so they will have to give up that round and immediately sent back. Even game, 1-1. We'll see how this mid fares. You see Laz on top of the tower trying to put the hurt onto Yosh, but he's just going to get hit instead, drop down to 50 HP, has to back up at the pack immediately. As they definitely have to try to play this fast to make sure that the Squiggies don't hurt too much, but the pedal to the metal is actually being done by the Fjord team who double bombs onto Hubert. They gave up both their soldiers, but they only dropped Hubert about 20 HP. Necro will eventually fall at 2 HP, and same could be said for Bear, and they went all in on that with not enough soldier damage. Maybe they petered out just a tad. It is only Deadly Seed alive. He scurries back to last, and froyo loses none.
Yeah, froyo starting to pick up a little bit of steam here. Being able to keep Hubert alive is very crucial because the past 2 mids, they have not been able to do that at all. This time, they did that even better, being able to take down Baradactyl as well. Now, it's going to be Fjord Gaming on their last once again. Add Uber, just add Necro up on Sniper, just trying to see if he can maybe get a shot off and hopefully get the drop. Even just a pick onto any player would be good for his team, but they are going to be coming in. They do pop the Uber, going to be jumping across over to point. Logan, good damage on the Sentry Gun, does take it down. A lot of damage on top of the point. The soldiers try to block to stop it. Pineapple goes down, but it's just not going to be enough. Froyo had too much cap time. They make it 2-1.
Yeah, I think both soldiers from the side of Fjord jumped at the same time, and then both tried to jump away. So when that second turn of corner capping came through after the initial flash, honestly, Hubert played that very, it was kind of sketchy because it seemed like he almost forgot about Habib for a second corner capping, but it came through. But the second soldier from Fjord was not ready to block the point, and that was a pretty simple cap in froyo favor. So 2-1 for them. We'll see how this mid goes. Last time Fjord tried to play really aggressive. Oh my god, the air shot. Hello? Alexandra's just sent to the grave, and any immediate plan that would involve his initiation is toast. They're all dead at this point. Only scouts left alive from Fjord. They've been able to get the soldiers out of the way, but do they have enough? Necro buying actually a lot of time for Deadly Seed to finally come in after he was able to get some HP, but not enough time, as it looks like he will eventually fall. And once again, the aggression from Fjord immediately being thwarted, this time a bit more flashy, and froyo still coming out pretty much unscathed.
Yeah, these are the worst positions for Fjord to be in, is to lose mid, but to also lose it so disastrously and be on your last with big Uber just sad. But if you're froyo, this is exactly what you want. Catching Pineapple out is going to be even huge. Better. Habib just guarantees himself and his team a nice opening pick. Maybe they can take a little bit more space without having to UCC. Habib already trying to peek over on the left side from his team's perspective. Just going to be healing up and getting ready to take this Uber in.
Yep, going in now. 1 soldier down, so they're already doing pretty good work here. Juggling up the sniper, but we'll be able to go ahead and reset. They brought one of the soldiers over. They get the kill on the Yoch, which is huge. Heavy on the field, trying to draw some eyes. They have some players still on the field, though, Fjord. But Alexandra's pretty weak, might just die to scatter. Couple missed shots, he's still alive, taking the arrows. Respawners will come in if they don't win this quick for you. They have the cap time, they're getting on it now, stacking it up. They're trying to block. They got the medic frag with Patty. He might just walk on it, and he will indeed secure the cap. Almost didn't go their way this time on Froyo, but they did play it as quickly as they needed to. They milked out all the time that they could be afforded to milk out and make sure that it was a slow and methodical victory, but a victory nonetheless. Head on to the next mid.
Head on, and if you're Fjord Gaming, you really want to ideally win this mid, but just make sure you don't lose your medic and their medic stays alive, because they've just getting mid to last. Oh my god, Laz is all the way in the enemy team's valley. Bandy takes a lot of damage, though. He's going to get shot out of the sky, so that's going to be a good player advantage. Laz jumping around in the backlines is over in the enemy team's cafe, going to be jumping in, try to see if he can land on top. Does a bit of damage, helps take down Yoshim. No demo, but now this has been used over, I think. No, not just quite yet. There's a crits on the field, and I thought they'd maybe used it, but I misread the situation.
Oh, Logan for the big play? Big play?
He could go. Oh my god, I thought he was going to be able to get that there.
2 left alive, 1 respawner. 15% crits ad, you have to kind of use it now. Chase them. They're going down into water. Hubert's there, going to be able to get the frag. Didn't even need to use the crits, so they can still actually use it. But did Banny actually see that it was a crits Krieg when he shot onto Bear? Meanwhile, They find their way onto Pineapple. We'll be able to collect that frag. Patty collects it up, but they still need to get mid. They don't have the resources to stay here onto and go ahead and cap mid. So, you know, they'll take what they can get. They wiped them once. They gave up a little bit, but they are able to get this down. But now they're kind of... I mean, I don't know if it's stuck on crits. The question is it a surprise or not? If it's not a surprise, it's kind of rough, especially because Pineapple is still dead. You got to wait for him, and that just gives them more time to set up and buff up and everything. I just don't know if Banny recognized that it was a crits beam when he saw Bear. So I guess we'll see how they approach this. So far, they're actually playing pretty safe. Not just normal. Oh, okay, it comes out.
There you go.
Quickie Bomb is that quick. It's too quick for the casters as well. Habib immediately dead to it, but it seems like he's going to be the only casualty.
There is a player in behind. It is Banny now in a little bit of a 1v1 right now. Is going to be able to win that against Deadly Seed, so that's going to be even better for froyo. Just barely manages to make it into the enemy team's valley, so he's going to be lurking in behind. It is going to be uber advantage for froyo, and maybe Banny can get in position to try and go for some type of pincer play. They're making their way over through lower dungeon, just going to be able to get in cleanly. They don't have to use at all. They find another nice pick on the Pineapple, and so that's going to be everyone on Fjord backing out. Banny still over on mid, is going to try and jump out, still barely manages to live behind, and he's just going to be drawing eyes and time and space for everyone else on froyo to take advantage of.
Yeah, they're trying to get through choke now. They find Deadly Seed kind of alone, who is trying to buy some time. Does indeed force the Uber, and Alexandros has gotten behind, but Banny coming in, trying to find the exit door, does not succeed. Went through choke when they left through Cafe, but a little bit of a back cap attempt by the side of Alexandros. So Patty is there, will take a lot of damage, but will eventually survive on 11 HP. And now you're kind of stuck on crits. They know it's coming. They're prepared. Banny does a bomb early on to make sure he can spot where they are, sees them, they're capping it up. Scrits is going to come eventually, but he only has so much ammo. Comes out now, gets a kill on a Hubert, but is that going to be enough? Lock
He gets
on
another
loading bomb in on from Banny, takes Necro out of the equation, trying to scatter him down. Deadly Seed will be able to collect that frag, and only 2 left alive from the side of froyo. They knew that crits was coming and still were unable to deal with it up until now.
Laz in behind.
Bombing in, gets a nice rock onto Yosh. Bear trying to surf away. Deadly Seed a bit weak, but has the beam. Alexander's bailing him out, and it's just Patty left alive. The pack will finally spawn for him, but he is up 1 versus 3. However, the forwards from froyo, they are here. 2 up. Hubert, 3 up actually, as they're going to be able to pinch them if they stay here. And Fjord, they know that, yeah, they're not going to be able to get the mid with that. Cut their losses and go ahead and back up, reset at least a little bit. And I mean, they killed the med. They have crits ad, but still, I mean, how many times is the crits gonna work when it's not a surprise? The first time it worked, but are froyo gonna slip again and let it happen?
Yeah, I mean, they got a little bit fortunate there because everyone on froyo was kind of capturing up the point, so it was a nice, good area to try and shoot that sticky, but now they're going to be coming in. Yosh is finally respawned, and they're making their way through Valley. That's going to be a fadeaway bomb from Banny, just putting a little bit of pressure on that choke point. froyo taking a bit of spam, or sorry, Fjord taking a bit of spam as Deadly Seed goes down, traded out for Laz. The soldiers, oh, this guy, I thought that air shot was going to hit, but Banny is taken down, Raiders down to the ground. As froyo, they're still staying in here. Habib, very weak. That's a long-range quickie sticky onto Habib, takes him down, and with that, they're going to have to go back, but there's a back cap. I don't think it's going to go in time. There's just too many people on mid, and Fjord have been able to retake mid. They're already busting in onto second.
Yeah, gotta be careful about this Uber, though. You can only be so close without getting accidentally mushed by them, so they have to make sure they keep their positioning pretty safe. Plus, Patty is somewhere behind as well, so he might end up being at the door. They try to leave, but they decide they don't want to use their Uber out of last, even though they know that, I mean, Uber beats crits. I guess they're afraid that Fjord would play so passive that their Uber wouldn't get anything and then get crits back in. Maybe they just want to go for a reset, or they're afraid that they won't be able to block the point in time, and then someone would back cap. But they're going in now. Uber's popped. They just was biding their time a little bit. Now they're going with Patty dead, though. They did get the kill onto Bear. Everyone's scattering. They're able to get the kill into Yosh as well, giving up beads. No one's at last yet, actually. I was kind of surprised. I saw some people through the skyboxes like, oh, they're in lobby, but no one managed to get behind. So they actually did a really, really good job, even though 1, Patty was dead for that, and 2, they dropped Habib as well. He eventually died. So honestly, pretty good execution despite all odds. And froyo, not only did they get Bear out of the gate, lose some people, get this secured over on second, and they come up with ad on top of things. So overall, looked really sketchy, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that play a bit earlier when Patty was still alive, but if it works, it works, and they find themselves in the driver's seat once again.
They do find themselves in the driver's seat. They might slow things down because they do have Uber advantage, but it's not that big Uber advantage. They are getting a little bit antsy over towards Cafe and Choke. Habib
Alexandros.
just spotting things out. Alexandros is hiding in a Cafe. Banny just peeking it a little bit, hasn't committed. I don't know if that's one of the spots that you can see if you have shadows turned on. Maybe not, as Alexandros is going to jump away, so he is going to give it up as things do even out. So it's going to be on Fjord Gaming to try and break this stalemate, try and get maybe one of their soldiers in, go for a sack attempt onto Hubert, or maybe get someone in behind and cause a little bit of chaos as we see the combo working their way over into Cafe. It's going to be Yosh and Necro. Pineapple coming up over for a buff, maybe an opportunity for Alexandros to fly in through Choke, as he is going to do so, just wrapping around, maybe trying to land on one of those players over towards Cafe, but instead he gets landed on by Laz, and that's going to be a player add for froyo to try and do something with.
And immediately Banny finds 2 scouts. Doesn't get chased though, is gonna survive at 5 HP because there's bigger fish to fry. They find Laz. Patty is also in. Pineapple gets taken down by Logan, and they're all backing up out of the choke to chase Patty, but that just kind of gives room for froyo to walk in. Uber's still available. Patty still being a thorn in their side. Might be able to get the force. No. Well, actually, no, he will get the force. They're gonna pick up Yosh for it as well, trying to run at Logan, able to get that pop out of the blue team, but no scout speed for Bear anymore. Will not be chased though. Deadly Seed and Alexandros is still kind of lingering around. Alexandros kind of hiding for the most part until he finds an opening where the scouts get connected, actually bombing into him potentially. No, just a fade. Gonna go ahead and back up. Did not have the support anymore. Might be accidental bait onto this scout who's stuck in the fords, but will be able to escape. Habib getting back to his team, and the respawners are in favor of Fjord, even though it was kind of sketchy. They were all over the place. They let froyo in. Patty was behind. At the end of the day, because the Uber exchange buys time for respawners, anyone that died or got traded is going to be here much quicker, and they can maintain control over the area. And at the end of the day, despite all the action, it is back to square one, even Ubers.
Yep, even Ubers, basically almost exactly even between the two medics. So Fjord they have another opportunity at trying to break this. Last time their sack attempt going around, it's a good one. You have your combo over in Cafe. You maybe bait the enemy froyo combo to play close, and then you have your soldiers sack in onto that combo towards Cafe, not ending up working out. So they can maybe try and go for that again, maybe go for a proper sack onto Hubert the Fish, or maybe send someone like their scouts Necro, or maybe Alexandros in behind through Valley. But at least for the meantime, they're just building things up. They only have 60 seconds left before it actually goes to a round reset. So they've got maybe the opportunity for one more sack before they just have to try and say, screw it, let's just go for an exchange. The bomb does come in. Nice damage onto Hubert, but Alexandros not enough to get the force or the kill. So that is just going to be that, as Banny might get taken down over in Cafe. No, Pineapple does. Now with 2-player advantage, froyo is going to try and do something here.
Yep, they're poking around the choke, but it's going to be a soldier. Laz bombing in through the valley side, landing on the bell tower, damaging Yosh, who eventually comes out, trying to chase down this scout, able to get the lock and load on to Habib, so he will get dropped in. Laz dying as well. So overall, this Uber has turned into exchange, plus 2 kills. They can actually fight this post. There's 20 seconds left, which is plenty of time to even touch the point. froyo have to guess what door they need to stuff, and they are guessing correctly. They've guessed Cafe. No one is ready from the side of Cafe yet up until now to try to alleviate some pressure. They're bombing in. Damage on Hubert. Kills him. They need to get some captain here. Patty is still on top of the point, trying to buy some time and make sure he can get in real deep, but no. They are able to bust their way through, and the execution from froyo in the mid was sloppy enough that Fjord, they held on strong. They're able to get this cap up, and honestly, they can't even draw into Laz. They don't have heals or buffs. They're trying to poke and prod, see if it's easy. So much damage, though. Laz and Banny are immediately killing any idea of a draw. So they'll have to go back to the drawing board, just play off their ad, wait for Necro's respawn, and then go then. Although froyo they're poking around, seeing if anything's possible, but no one's caught. They go back to last, go ahead and set up normally. Got the heavy and the sniper. Oh no, they're going gun. Don't really have that much time for a gun. Yeah, I was about to say, you should have stayed on heavy. It's dead before it gets built up. The soldiers are bombing in. Banny on top of the point, able to get a flash on to Deadly to keep him alive, and both soldiers may be dying. Laz barely in time, able to get the forward spawn, but the lock and load onto Patty. Heavy still in the field, though. A lot of health that needs to get chewed through. A reset is going to be able to save one of the blue players, but it's not enough, as there's too much control over the area of the point. And Fjord, with a simple Uber push, are getting one step closer to tying up the game, and they make the game a current 2-3.
I did not expect this. I mean, we haven't even seen the ending, and already, this is so much closer than I think either of us thought. I mean, froyo are still in the lead, and I still think they're gonna win, but Fjord Gaming are doing really, really well as long as they can keep their medic alive on these mids, because the couple of rounds that froyo were able to do almost instantly was because they were mid to lasting Fjord Gaming. We're going to have to see if maybe froyo actually being very aggressive, taking a lot of space, taking down Alexandros and Necro, only losing one and banning. I think that's going to be the call for everyone on Fjord Gaming to back
Deadly
up.
Seed!
Oh,
Does
Deadly
he find
Seed!
the shot?
He could go for it. Oh my god. Oh, he still gets a Yosh with the sticky. The quickie sticky takes down Hubert the Fish. That's going to be so unfortunate for froyo. But for Fjord Gaming, they've been able to get the heck out of there with their medic alive. And that is going to set them up with uber advantage. They might have a little bit of ground to retake, probably at least mid. But it's going to be an okay position for them to start getting into this round.
Yeah, 2 is still there. So they got the ad to work with. froyo is going to have at least a little bit of time to set up, though, because they got to wait for the Pineapple Royal and get him buffed up and everything. Alexandros is weak as well, so it's not going to immediately come through. So Logan will get healed up. You get some traps up, and it's time to push through Valley, says Fjord. They got the brunt of their team here. Deadly Seed kind of spotting in the middle to help if Alexandros gets pushed at all. Immediately popping through. Yosh going in very deep. Doesn't die. They get so many kills and lock and low damage. No scout speed, and a hurt Hubert means, oh my god, the rocket from Alexandros that came in quick through Valley. Damien full commit. Just stood in the doorway, shot one rocket at him, nails him, and then jumps on his way out. I've done my job. And it's just explosive classes left on froyo. I'm not so sure there's much you can do here, and you can see with the backup that they think that as well.
Yeah, they are just getting the heck out of dodge, and froyo on their last, and a good opportunity for Fjord Gaming to tie it up, make it a 3-3 game. They're getting into lobby. Last time they took it in through dungeon, they got a lot of space with it. It was pretty successful. You can see them just kind of buffing everyone up. They got a little bit of time before they can instantly go because they're only at 80%. They do spam down the sentry gun with those quickie bombs. That's going to be really good. Habib is committed to it, still going to try and build it up, but it might be a similar situation of it not really being able to provide much of anything as they do bomb in. Over on the right side, they have to cross it over to the left. Sentry gun still up, getting a little bit of cap time onto the point, getting a lot of cap time onto the point, and they're just going to take it. Oh, and everyone on froyo is stuck in spawn.
It's the classic problem of both soldiers like instinctively respond to they're corner capping, I gotta block them. And then that one scout leaves and then either gets replaced or he comes back because the flash was successful. And the soldiers are like, wait, I just jumped away. How am I supposed to block it again? So the second attempt at corner capping just goes through. And everyone else on froyo was corralled and spawned properly from one of the soldiers, so. Built Fjord tough, 3-3 game. Not quite infinite overtime yet, but these mids have been pretty explosive, and we'll see how this one fares for both these teams.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of actually a lot of damage coming out on the Fjord Gaming. Labs just bombing in, takes down Crunching to Magoo. A good bit of damage onto Hubert, but he's being able to stay alive, just tucked all super nice over in Cafe. Necro running up, tries to get in onto Hubert. No, Logan just immediately shuts that down. A big bomb coming in from Pineapple. Gets a bit of damage, but not enough onto any one person. That's going to be froyo, putting themselves in a good position to do another mid to last.
They just hardcore lost the spam war within the first 4 seconds. froyo was pretty unlocked. I'm not sure if they were trying to focus fire a particular point or if that's just how the cookie crumbled this time around, but they did a very good job of making sure there was a big health difference, and there was like 3 separate players that were half HP trying to walk up to the cafe before the mid even began and soldiers began to start getting in their spamming locations like permanently or begin bombs. But Alexandros is going to die early, going to make it really hard to actually block this point. Pineapple's going to be the only soul there, going to be the first one to go in, jumps away, and then second string capper doesn't actually come immediately. They're heavy on top of the point. Hubert died in the post, gave up his life, so no heals available for the blue team. But do they need it? They need to play fast, they need to play explosive if they want this cap, and all they got to do is shove Alexandros off the point, stack on top of it, make it a 4-3 game.
4-3 froyo, only 1 round away from winning it, but it's a lot closer than I think any of them probably expected. And they're still at risk of falling here. Fjord Gaming have been looking really, really good as long as, like you said, they're able to have a successful mids. They've been able to go the distance off of that, coming in onto another one. Logan going to be taking a little bit of damage. These stickies coming out from Yosh have been so crucial for his team and just setting them up. You see the bombs coming in from the froyo soldier. So much damage onto Bear. Going to get the early kill. And now here comes Alexandros getting stuffed, piped over into the air. But Pineapple going in so deep, not enough to find the kill onto Hubert. There is Necro over in Valley trying to run in. So many Fjord Gaming players trying to get onto the fish. Can they catch him? He's staying alive. He's dodging all the spam somehow, some way. No, Deadly Seed manages to get him with a final scattergun shot. and Fjord Gaming have done what they've needed to do. They've been able to kill the Froyotech med, and they at least guaranteed themselves not another mid to last.
Yeah, another scenario where Froyotech at the beginning of the mid were very on point. I got to see a bit closer this time, and they immediately dropped Bear to like 100 HP as he had to surf the damage out of the choke into the valley side, and then double soldier bomb comes through, your medic immediately explodes because he's not full, and it's really rough to survive that. So they did salvage at the last minute. Last hurrah from one of the Red Scouts comes in and takes out Hubert, so ad gained from the side of Fjord, and so far in these positions, they haven't been too bad. They've done a pretty good job of thwarting any, like, I guess not serious backcap attempt. I think for the most part, Froyotech has had like maybe a singular player linger, or maybe Laz or Patty have kind of been by themselves, but not together. They've been going for forces for the most part, and as you see the entire team in Valley here, Froyotech, I mean, they're gonna finally commit. Maybe Laz is once again all alone. He's kind of sold out. We'll go ahead and back up. Patty was kind of on the other side of the map, didn't really have a lot of support from him, and will get juggled up and will barely escape, kind of. The rest of the team's kind of coming, but no, he has some support. He'll be fine. So Uber not used. They milked it through, got the Laz kill, so a free mid for them, but they can't really do much more here than other than just maybe try to go for the sack. They bought some space with one of the soldier bombs. Bandy's going to reply in kind over towards the choke area. He's kind of lone, has one of the scouts with him. Gotta be careful if you're Necro, you might caught yourself in a corner. Yosh is able to put some damage on him as well. Logan gets a pipe into Alexander, so kind of scout on the side of Froyotech, and Hubert actually has to use because he's so weak from all the spamming and fighting that happens through all these different doorways. So overall, really good job taking control of the chaos. Laz was dead, wasn't able to really watch one of the doors, makes it that much easier to slip your way through, and it took a bit, but they finally got the force, and now once again moving forward with their ad.
Yeah, they are. Here comes a bomb in from Laz. Does a lot of damage. Is going to be able to take down Deadly Seed. Pineapple as well are going to fall. And now finally they use the Uber. There is a player in behind. It is going to be Banny as they do find Patty over. It seems like Froyotech want to try and contest this with Banny in the backline. It's going to be jumping and doing a lot of damage. They might be able to catch this Mafia, the Fjord Gaming squad out. And now they are going to be able to manage to survive. And that's going to be unfortunate for Yosh. Just gets popped and shot up into the sky. But Bear has been able to survive. Very important for Fjord Gaming as they are going to be at Uber disad, but not as much as if their medic had died.
Yeah, they could have maybe done a little bit of scrappy fight, but it was too sketchy there at the end of the day for the mid. So too close to Uber, disad, don't know exactly what they're at. And they're coming through Cafe now. Got two people close. Pineapple goes in, able to get the force, popped up into the skybox. Deadly Seed is going to die. Same can be said for Pineapple, who does not hit the health pack, and they're chasing for more. Want to get Alexander popped up into the corner, and an Uber for 3. Laz out for blood. Going in, buying some space. Bear, well, barely survives. The reset bind from Yosh as well. They put so much damage into these two, but surely Necro will die. Will end up dying. Yosh gets a pipe kill onto Laz. Uber available. They're bombing in. Yosh trying to get this kill onto Logan. Hubert's so
Hubert!
I think Hubert did not want to leave that direction, but it was too little too late. Everyone else was already at that door, and he gets caught out and will give up his life for it. Pineapple gets a kill onto Patty as well, who's actually deep into 2. Still alive for now, as only 3 are really here from the side of Froyotech up until Laz's arrival to really stop things. Banny going in solo, doesn't need any help, takes down Bear up against the wall, and that's the red medic out of the equation. The cap will probably still go in their favor, but not for long, as heals are available for the side of Froyotech, and the only thing stopping them is a huge pineapple bomb right now.
He's going to be waddling over. Yeah, no, it didn't happen. He decided just to waddle into choke instead, but Froyotech, they're going to be able to retake second basically for free. Just a little bit of eyes on the point from Fjord Gaming, but they're just going to give it up. They're going to be heading back onto the last. It is going to be a little bit of Uber advantage for Froyotech, but seems like Fjord Gaming have maybe picked up a trick or two from our European brethren. They have opted to go crits on last, the idea being that this crits feels a lot quicker than Ubercharge would, and maybe they might be able to use it in the post a bit sooner than Froyotech would be expecting. We don't see it too often in North America, but Froyotech might have a little bit of experience with it from the Euros, but they're going to be using it, getting a lot of great cap time onto the point. Habib is going to get reflashed. They take down the sentry gun. Alexander's bombing onto the squad, doing a lot of damage. Actually, he's been able to take down Logan. Banny going to fall. Patty as well, and now the laser beams from the heavy. I don't know how much damage they did, but definitely a boon to the Fjord Gaming squad as they've been able to hold onto their last and push out on the second.
And they're sticking on crits too. Didn't even bother swapping off, able to get this cap up, and that means that when Froyotech eventually Uber back in with their ad, it's going to be a little bit sketchy, where if they don't lock down the doors immediately, Yosh is going to be able to come back in and immediately throw quickies into the point area. So It is going to be very precarious for froyo making sure they build this up in time, and I don't think they're really going to be able to build it up in time to not have the crits be a part of the equation, or at least a threat. So they're trying to go in early for that reason. And they get the kill on the Pineapple over by the flank side as well, makes things that much easier to lock down doors because there's less bodies to really deal with. And the crits goes out, and 99% Huber's the fish has fallen. Banny jumps in onto Bear, gets scattered down. It's a Mafia alumni frag show as Logan will get pulled down by Deadly Seed. It's just Patty left alive, put in the dirt by Deadly Seed and Alexandros, and the thinnest of margins. I mentioned building for a reason. Every little percentage counts. And froyo are really feeling the hurt right now.
They are really feeling the hurt. I mean, I can understand why they wouldn't expect it. I mean, Fjord Gaming were on their last. You'd maybe expect Bear to swap off onto the Medigun after that, but they just weren't ready for it, and they got majorly caught out. Now, it is going to be, once again, advantage for Fjord Gaming. They're working their way through. They have it just now so they can go in at a moment's notice. froyo playing very close to all of these doorways, just in case of the crits. They want to try and stuff it if they possibly can and not give any space for free. And they're playing a little bit far back. They're going to be rotating over into Valley with their demo. They just have to wait and see where they can maybe get some type of angle onto these froyo players, but they're taking a bit of time. Hubert doesn't have just quite yet, but coming up onto 60, Yosh just waiting for that stick. He gets one onto Logan. That's going to be a demo dead.
Yeah.
He gets the medic.
Yeah, he gets the medic, takes that out of the equation. Only 3 left for Fjord, though. I mean, they're able to get some damage onto Hubert. He might be in trouble here. 1 HP, the final rocket able to take him down. It looks sketchy in the beginning because Pineapple couldn't initiate because he was so weak. So they were sitting in Valley for a bit trying to figure out, like, yo, someone go in, like, we're going to crits after you bomb in, and that's why it took forever. But the first sticky hits onto Logan. Amazing pick. Sure, Bear dies after that, but honestly, at this point, the crits has worked well enough. Yeah, definitely get off it for the last. So at the end of the day, works out, able to secure 2. Almost didn't get Hubert there on the tail end of things, but in the chaos, it is able to come to fruition. And they're one step closer to tying up the game once again. So froyo gotta put on a really good defense here. The gun will be up this time. Habib hasn't been able to get the gun up because of the timings of when they've gone back to last so far. So he can finally get his level 3. But with the lock, I don't know how long it's gonna survive for. Is 90%. Only a bit longer until they end up picking a door, and it's look that's gonna be top right from the attacker's perspective.
Yeah, they're using in, gonna have to rotate over, getting a little bit of cap time onto the point, not a lot. The soldiers doing well to block it. Nice actually damage from Logan onto Deadly Seed. There's a lot of cap time on the point. Just one step onto it could be enough, but they're also weak on Fjord Gaming. It's only Bear left alive, and that has been enough from froyo to block and get themselves a out of last onto second.
That was a really good defense from the froyo soldiers. They made sure that after the first flash came through, nice shot, Deadly Seed. They made sure after the first flash came through to defend the corner capping scout that, you know, the second string soldier, I didn't see which one, I think it was Banny that came in second, was like right there ready to prevent the cap from just immediately going through. So the scout that was corner capping kind of immediately died. So immediately popping in because of the sniper threat. Pineapple gives up his life for it. Alexandros tried to go behind, meets Laz, and will meet his end. So overall, both soldiers down. A sniper still on the field means holding this is kind of sketchy unless Deadly Seed gets the most insane air headshot that we've seen so far. This is looking like a pretty easy try, or at least force attempt, because you know the soldiers aren't holding the doors. So, but froyo they're not doing anything. Never mind. You always gotta remember. You know, this isn't froyo with Banny main calling per se, so there's going to be some differences here and there. They're playing it safe. They're not, you know, going all in. If this was a Banny main call, he would have said go force them while they have no soldiers and can't hold doors. While they have a sniper and can't fend bombers. But they're going to do something different. Bomb comes in. Hubert is caught. 18 HP.
God.
Almost dies to fall damage. 4 HP, but it's Yosh that's going to end up dying. They try to go behind. Laz did not succeed. Patty did because they went through different doors. So overall, Hubert, they're going to take a pack. He's fine. He has his Uber. He can't even really stay to cap this up because they have to go back for Patty, which means they can't actually get the force onto Hubert. They all pretty much have to leave because Patty's able to slink his way through. And he's still alive in lobby as well. He's getting chased down. Out to Laz, chased by 2. Even less resources to try to get this force. It's just Alexandros behind in the choke. They get the pipe down onto Patty finally, but Hubert is in the shutter. Poking around. Alexandros still alive, able to be a little bit of a threat. drawing them back, able to eat some packs. Pineapple in as well, might meet Laz though, popped up. Laz wants this kill. The pack is going to be there for him though if he needs it, and the force will finally come in through Deadly Seed through underneath. Didn't think it was going to be anyone, or thought it might have been one of the soldiers, but nope, the scout instead. So they do get this force. They don't only give up one for it. They're trying to dry it. They know that Alexandros is behind. He's not there to defend Laz quite yet. Pineapple's there, able to walk the point at least a little bit. Necro, then up into the sky. They need to take down these explosive classes. They're in the thick of it. Bear is going to die to fall damage. Cooper is rubbing up against one of the soldiers, getting blasted as well, dying. Only one left alive. Patty gets scattered down. They fumbled it. Froyotech kind of had that in a 6v4, and somehow it just didn't turn out in their way.
No, they were so close, but Alexandros making the right call, coming back over onto Last definitely helped out his team, and with that, Fjord Gaming are able to stay in it just a little bit longer. A little bit of a scuffle over in Cafe between Alexandros and Banny, neither going to fall there, and it is going to be even Ubers, both medics basically dying around about the same time, so still going to be a little bit of a net game for Fryotech as they've been able to get off their second onto mid, and now it's even Ubers. They did fumble it. They could have sealed it right there, but they've still in a really good position to try and do it again. They're going to be at even Ubers and just kind of wait for it to build up, and now it's going to be their turn to try and break this stalemate, because I think basically every other round that we've seen from them has basically been a mid to last. We haven't really seen them kind of really successfully gradually take ground in the way that we've seen Mafia, or sorry, I really want to call them Mafia.
Just look at the scouts and be like, oh yeah, it's Mafia.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time that we've seen Froyotech try to break the stalemate with them owning mid, so we're probably going to see them two-man through Valley, and yep, we see them. Patty's going behind, Laz making space, Patty trying to draw some eyes for maybe some sort of 1v1 or 2v1 with Laz
Hubert holds. Oh, okay, no, he uses. Okay.
But yeah, Pineapple's in as well. They went for their own play, and they're able to get 2 for the Uber. Not bad. Overall, just a trade. Neither team can be too upset, really, at what's happening. And honestly, Ford can continue to hold this. They're poking and prodding now on the side of Froyotech. You know, there's a scout down. You can send one more if you find an opening where one of the scouts isn't, or just spam on the bear. He's 31 HP. He either has to straight up leave for a pack and leave them unhealed, which that happens in Necro. Bear can't heal Necro because he's too weak, and therefore Necro doesn't get healed and just dies. Same we said for Yosh, and really good job, honestly, from the side of Froyotech. Just noting that the way they're positioned, that spam on the bear was so clutch because it prevented them from playing cohesive, and they just dismantled them from there based off of how disjointed they were. So just a straight up dry, even on players, that's how you do it, and they're going for more.
Yeah, they are. They're just trying to bust their way through. Banny's going to be taking down trades out for Alexandros, and it's going to be another soldier trade, Pineapple and Last. So no soldiers on the field, kind of a mirror of what we saw on second last time. And now Froyotech, they're going to be happy with that. They're going to take their little bit of Uber advantage in. They're going to take down Deadly Seed. Everyone is in spawn over on Fjord Gaming. Habib over on the point, but Yosh with the lock and load is going to be able to just pipe him down. And here comes the respawner of Alexandros. They got the faster ones. Patty's so weak, just barely going to be able to get out. But Banny jumping on the point does a lot of damage onto Bear, but not enough to really get the kill. And that is going to be a held last from the Fjord Gaming. They're going to wait for Yosh, and now they have the opportunity to push out. But the thing is, Jared, there's so much cap time on that last point. It is so scary.
Yeah. You know, and Banny's on Spy. Although you know that if he is on Spy, it's such a long roll that if you really get going, he doesn't really have a chance to back cap. But they're biding their time. Laz inside lobby, they immediately pop through. There's the kill into Laz. They saw Patty, so they're already gonna be on Laz. Alexander's just there, finds 2 soldiers, and Patty takes down one. Is just gonna win a straight up 2v1. Deadly Seed's coming back. Banny's there as well as the insurance, and Alexandros, he's chilling. He is not leaving this point. He's not the player to just go ahead and leave. Oh, never mind.
Oh, no, he leaves the point. He leaves the point. Banny decloaks, and he's going to get it.
I thought he was just going to be like, nope, I'm sitting here till I see that cap time all the way through, and decides, no, what are the odds? What are the odds he's on Spy, right?
He's probably just know a guy.
Yeah, but no. No. So overall, 5-3 victory in favor of Froyotech.
That's the biggest caster's curse I've actually ever seen. That's crazy. Unfortunate for Fjord Gaming, but I mean, even then, it's really good for them because they did 5-3 versus Fryotech. They were looking really good. Basically, the main thing that I kind of kept catching them out was their mids. They were having kind of a few mids where they were just kind of being mulched by Fryotech. But outside of that, they were able to kind of take some really good fights, some really good team fights on mid and second. And, you know, when they had the opportunity to push less, they really didn't beef it too many times. So they have a lot of positives to walk away from. And on Fryotech, they won it, so they should be feeling good. But I think everyone will say that is not how we expected that game to go. And if you're Froyotech, you know that you could have done that a lot cleaner, and they're going to be maybe a little bit disappointed at how sloppy a few of their plays were.
Alexandros is defending himself vigorously through Steam right now, saying he asked if they spotted all the people before he left. I will say, though, I think a big contribution of this, obviously there's little things here and there, but with both teams taking rounds off each other where you can point to, like, problems. But to highlight Fjord, the main thing that kind of, I think, kept them at bay is, like you said, the mids. I didn't even think it was a problem of, like, oh, your mid strategy didn't work. You gotta go back to the drawing board. It was like there was a handful of mids they didn't get to play. Like, at least two, where everyone got to mid, and you just look at everyone's health bars, and you're like, oh, it's over. Like, with the amount of people, you need, like, to arrow 3 people. No, if they just go in right now, then you lose. And they did. Froyotech recognized the damage done and they just went in. So maybe one arrow got off and then people are dead. And then there's a huge health disad that you can't really deal with, and that's that. So honestly, Froyotech kind of just won a couple of those mid before it began and was able to put themselves in a good position more often than not. Although, it's a really close game. Makes me wonder what might have happened if they had patched that up at least a little bit to have more of the, like, actual mid fights where everyone sets up properly and then things kick off. More of those happened, but at the end of the day, you're gonna win by any means. So Froyotech, they did what they needed to do, especially with the spy back cap is very fitting to that saying as well for the end of this match.
It is indeed. And just one thing I do want to quickly note is the medics. Hubert dying 14 times, Bear only dying 10, which, I mean, is not too big when you just look at it. 14 to 10 is like, all right, 4 more deaths. But it's kind of big considering Froyotech won and they had more medic deaths. So that's definitely a reason why they were able, at least Fjord Gaming, were able to stay in it as competitively as they were, is they were really being able to get onto Hubert more often than not. And a lot of that came down to Yosh and Alexandros, who had 5 and 6 medic kills apiece. So really great stuff from them. Maybe Alexandros, he can be redeemed with the fact that, he was doing his job out there, getting the medic a lot. And Yosh, with that quickie, definitely on at least one of the mids, but I think just overall, definitely, like you said, kind of caught Froyotech out a little bit with that kind of not classic or standard demo loadout. So definitely something that maybe some of the other teams have to keep an eye out is Yosh on the demo. But otherwise, basically agree with everything you were saying.
Yep, not impenetrable, but you definitely got to deal with it properly. You just run at the quickie bomb demo, and then he doesn't benefit from charging anymore because everything's up close to his face, which is what they did for the most part. In the beginning, I don't think Froyotech really did that much. They were sitting around for a tad trying to spam, like they were going to win a spam war, and I think quickies helped kind of make sure it was at least a little bit even. There were a couple times where one of the soldiers like set up on a high ground to try to begin their normal spam, and it's like, oh, I'm getting hit for like 50 damage, and within the span of 3 seconds, this is not jiving. And they made their adjustments, and the score shows.
Oh, score does show. I think they change scouts on Froyotech. Habib is pocket scout now, and Patty is flank scout. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a development from what we saw over on Bagel. But yeah, Froyotech have been able to show that potentially that loss to a Mama's Boy, or Mama's Boys, sorry, was a maybe not a fluke, but they can do better than that.
Yeah,
We
it's
have
week
to
1 and
see
week
how.
2.
Yeah, they've. It's early days for all of these guys. It's gonna be very interesting to see how all of these teams progress. I don't know what match we're actually casting tomorrow, but
I think they're global clan matches.
oh, never mind. Not tomorrow. We're casting Wednesday and Thursday. But based on how the past 2 matches have actually gone, we're in for a pretty good season. Some people were saying this season was going to be mid. It was going to be Mickey. Oh my God, what even is invite? Some people saying, I think this is shaping up to be a pretty good season, Jared.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be pretty all right. If you get matches like this, it's definitely going to be something to have your sights on. But yeah, I think the matches are Anglerfish Global Clan Wednesday and then Global Clan Jiminy Thursday. I think that's what's on the table, barring reschedules. That's pretty hype. Got a full week for the most part ahead of us. But I think for the most part for tonight, I don't know if there's too much more. Any final thoughts from you, TC, before we go ahead and close out?
Yeah. Shout outs to you, Jared. Shout outs to Dolphin. Shout outs to the merch, RGL merch. Buy it, wear it. It's super cool. Shout outs to everyone in chat. And yeah, that's it for me.
Yep, definitely thanks to everyone for watching. You, of course, have Wednesday and Thursday games if you want to keep your eyes on. Got the Global Clan matches up to see how they fare after their loss earlier last week. Can see how rosters change and things of that notion and how a new team kind of operates. Keep your eyes peeled because you don't really, you never know who is going to be the big players. They're going to be end up heading off to playoffs and going off to LAN and things like that. So very important matches. Every little round counts. Every little match counts. So you definitely don't want to accidentally miss the ones that are going to end up mattering the most. But in terms of action for tonight, that has been it for us. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jarrett, casting with TC Mano with Dolphin on production. Thank you and good night.